Hello, welcome back to the channel. Now, while we all love to spend time out in the woods, the actual reality is that, well, 90% of the time we spend most of our time in urban environments, in towns and cities. Now, when we head off to the woods, there's always certain items that we carry. We've always got a knife with us, so we've got the ability to cut. Because we've got a knife, we're also carrying a first aid kit. We've also probably got a torch in case it gets dark. Warm kit, all of those things that we always take to the woods. But what about when we're in there, in that urban environment? Do we carry stuff then? Well, my answer to that is yes, we should carry items. And those are our EDC items, our everyday carry. Items that are useful for everyday life, but also might come in useful in emergency. And in this video, we're going to go through what I carry. And it's going to be a two-part. In the first part, what I actually carry on my person, and in the second part, what I've got in my rucksack. Now, carrying a few essential items on my person has pretty much become a way of life. It helps me out while I'm at work, helps me out while I'm at play, and I've got used to having those items on me, and I've carried them for most of my life. So these few items that I carry have been sort of fine-tuned and fine-honed over the years. So hopefully you might look at what I carry and it might give you a few ideas too. Now, most of my EDC items are either carried in or are attached to my trousers, whatever they happen to be. The reason for that is, well, shirts and coats come off and go back on again. Trousers tend to remain the same, so it makes sense to carry them there, so that I've always got those items with me. Now, on my belt I carry two pouches, and in those two pouches are a few items that I use surprisingly often, and they are always at hand because they are in that pouch on my belt. The first pouch is my little EDC light pouch, and that carries a pocket knife, a flashlight, a torch, and a ferrocerium rod. In the other pouch, my little companion pouch, well, in there is a tampon, you never know. There's also a foot of Gorilla Tape as well. Now, as well as those items, I also always make sure I've got my watch, and attached to my watch I've also got a little compass. Now, the watch is a Casio Tough Solar that I've had for I don't know how many years. These are great value. I think they're only about £35, and they just go on and on forever. They don't need batteries because they run on sunlight. They are super tough. This one's seen quite a battering over the years, and again with the little clipper compass, this little Suunto clipper. This is the luminous model. It's a great little item, and it always helps you stay orientated, so you always know roughly which way you're going, which way you're heading, etc. And I find it's a surprisingly useful little item. So this is the EDC light pouch. As you can see, I've got my little torch over on that side, and that is one of these, and this is an Olight i3T, runs on a single AAA battery, weighs nothing. The actual output, you've got two different outputs on it. Your normal working one is absolutely outstanding. The slightly more powerful one is very good for illuminating a large area. I find this the almost perfect torch. It doesn't weigh a great deal, but it does chuck out a good amount of light. It runs on an easily available battery, and the run time on it I think is about 20 odd hours. It's a very good bit of kit. This is the second one I've had. My other one, after constant use over about the last 3 or 4 years, the top of the switch it's just started to get a little bit sticky. I think I need to sort of take it down and maybe give it a clean out, see if we can free it up a little. But it is an outstanding little torch, and I highly recommend these. Next up is a little Light My Fire ferrocerium rod. This is one of their army models. It's slightly bigger. Great bit of kit. Obviously I'm out in the woods quite a lot and I need to light fires quite a lot. And so it makes sense to carry one of these. Really good item. These are a little bit more expensive, like my fire ones, but I do find they are worth it. They are really good quality. So my next item is my pocket knife, and this one changed a while ago. For years and years I used one of these, and this is the German Army knife. Brilliant bit of kit made by Victorinox. Very good item, but I wanted to update it, so I went with one of these, the little Ruike. I think it's the M32. It's slightly bigger than a standard Swiss Army penknife, and I know a lot of people diss these because they're made in China, etc. And they say they're expensive. Well, yeah, they are quite expensive. However, I think what you're getting, it's a really good item. One of the main draws for this one was the little glass breaker on the end. You never know when you may need to break perhaps a car window or something to get yourself or somebody else out. It's got all the usual things as well. It's got the standard blade, 12C27, so the edge retention is very good on it, and it's slightly beefier than your standard Swiss Army blade, and that was one of the things I liked about it. It's also got, well, you've got your corkscrew on the back. It's also got a very aggressive little reamer on there as well. As well as your usual main blade, you've also got a pretty good screwdriver come bottle opener with a little wire stripper on the bottom there, and then it's got this slightly dodgy seat belt cutter slash mini screwdriver. Not that convinced on that one. One thing I am very convinced about is that the saw blade. It's a really good saw. It's very similar to the Victorinox one, and in some ways I think it's actually slightly better. All in all, this is a great little package, I think. The only other thing I'm not too sure about it is this pocket clip. It works very well, and if you're not using a knife pouch, it will hold it in your pocket very securely. However, because I use a knife pouch, I don't really need it, and at some point I must get round to taking that off. So next up is my little companion pouch. In there, as I said, we've got two items. We have a tampon, which is a great item. Its main quality being that it is very absorbent, so if I need to wipe something down, perhaps a wound or something, this is a very good source of compressed cotton wool. We can also use it for gathering water as well, and obviously all that cotton wool makes it ideal for fire starting, and that will take a spark very easily. The other item, little roll of Gorilla Tape, and that, well, how often do you need to stick stuff back together or patch something or plug a hole in something? That bit of Gorilla Tape is excellent for that, but it's also very good once I've lit my tampon with a little bit of a spark from my ferro rod. I can then put strips of this on, and this burns furiously, and it makes an excellent fire starter. So next is this, and this is one of my little cuts kit pouches, and this one lives in my left hand pocket. I'm left handed, so when I'm cutting things, my supporting hand is my right hand, so it's no good this pouch being in my right pocket, because this is probably going to be the hand that's injured, so it always lives in my left hand pocket. As you can see, it's very brightly coloured. It's got a couple of little hanging loops so it can be hung up. These are also designed so that it can be used one-handed, so this tab on the bottom, hold with your teeth, and you can yank down on the other tab so it can be opened up one-handed. As I said, nice bright colour, so you can use it as a marker if you need to, but it also makes it very easy to find if you drop it. That's the outside of the pouch. We're going to look at the inside of it next, because The inside of it, well, it was kind of originally based on a bit of a hybrid idea between Morse Kahansky's cut kit and Lofty Wiseman's urban survival carry items, the little bits and pieces that you should carry in your pockets, and all I did was combine it all into this one package. So opening this one up, inside we have, well, the first item that comes to hand is a little throwaway lighter. This one, as you can see, it's been slightly modified. It's got Gorilla Tape wrapped around it, but it was also, there's a couple of sewing needles, and there's quite a few meters of dental floss wrapped around there, and obviously that's a multi-purpose cord. It's immensely strong and it takes up very, very little space. That can be used with those sewing needles to stitch buttons back on, or whatever you need a strong multi-purpose thread for. Obviously a disposable lighter, well, has 101 different uses. Its main one being its simplicity in operation. It's a really useful little item. Next up, a pair of scissors, and these are the little Victorinox ones that come in their Swiss cards. I've made a little sheath for it just to keep it self-contained, and then I've got the little scissors in there. So everything from trimming nails to cutting paper, whatever I need a small pair of scissors for. Next, in the back, here I've got some spare cash, £10 note, but also a Fresnel lens. I'm not getting any younger, and neither are my eyes, and surprising the number of times that a Fresnel lens comes in quite handy. Also, again, it can be used for getting a fire going. Then inside here I've got a little squeeze light, again surprisingly useful for a light of its size. I always think this is a great little bit of kit. And then, last but not least, my first aid kit. Again, a bit of brightly coloured tape on there. You can never have too much duct tape. And then inside, well, assorted first aid supplies. There's also a small pair of tweezers, a safety pin, various bandages including knuckle bandages, etc. There's also a little blister kit and a few steri strips. All of those make up a very simple first aid kit. There is also in there a little aid memoir for giving emergency first aid. So these are all tiny little items that take up very little space and very little size, and they go with me pretty much everywhere. So as well as my two little belt pouches and my cuts kit, I also carry my keys, and there's a couple of items on there which are again quite useful. Number one of these little mini pry bars. Actually, it's quite a useful bit of kit actually. It was given to me by my brother probably about 10 years ago, and I put it on my keyring, thought something I'll probably never use. Actually, it gets used quite a lot. You'd be surprised the number of times you need to get perhaps a lid off something or pry something open, and it is very good. It's also immensely strong. Also on here I've got one of these, and this is one of these little tiny Olight little torches, USB rechargeable, takes up no space at all, ideal for when you're trying to find the lock late at night. Having it with your keys makes an awful lot of sense. Also for when it's dark, so like I can find my keys, I've got one of these little glow in the dark, I think it's tritium light sources. It just makes a little blue glow, which makes finding your keys in the dark a hell of a lot easier. Great bit of kit. Again, this, God, I can't think how many years I've had this, at least 10, more likely 15, and it still glows away happily. So there you go, those are my EDC items, the stuff I carry with me every single day. As I said, it's been honed down over the years, so those choices have changed a little bit, and this is the latest incarnation. But what I find is it's just the right amount that I always remember to carry it all with me, and that is what it is all about, making sure you've always got it there, so that when those little emergencies in life happen, you have all the gear. If you enjoyed this video, then remember, hit that thumbs up button, and if you haven't already, like and subscribe to the channel. If you check out the description box down below, you will find links to my social media, so Instagram, Facebook, all of those good things. There's also a link down there to the Etsy shop. Now, as well as my Greencraft patches, you will also find over there some of my EDC light pouches. That's right, the ones that I showed in the video. And over the next few weeks there are going to be some other items coming up too. There's a couple of new items that I'm quite excited about, but it's also a release of a few old favourites, so keep your eyes on the shop. And if you want to get ahead, well, check out the Patreon link down there, because patrons, well, they get the heads up first. They also get a discount on all of the kit. I think that's everything. I've been Neil, and until next time, stay safe in the woods.
Christmas Day in the afternoon.